As you build your relationship and get closer to Archangel Michael by performing good deeds and keeping your karma in check throughout your day, you can get to intensify the warm glow in your heart and ask that Archangel Michael protects you in your dream time and when called throughout the day. Please just always remember to thank him, as that is all the archangels and angels ask. It is not a matter that the thanks is so much for them, but that of a simple demonstration that you display that you are truly grateful and that you are constantly in a state of gratitude, which will in turn only bring more blessings into your life the more you progress on your spiritual journey. With the help of the higher universal forces, archangels, angels, ascended masters and your ancestors, you can perform selfless acts of healing. The practice of Reiki is ritualistic, meaning signs, symbols, procedure and protection. I have, as a healer, developed a combination in my healing style which works well for me. Should you choose to be a healer, I would suggest that you study a number of modalities and do not restrict yourself to one style, but find one of which works perfectly for you and of which you are comfortable with. No undesired side effects, such as fatigue or taking on the symptoms of that which you are aiming to heal. These mistakes I have made in the past, so be a wise student. For self-protection and best outcomes for all, it is recommended here to begin by studying Reiki and becoming a master, as some of the most important things covered earlier, like self-protection and clearing or dispersing with the energies of the associated disease, is of paramount importance, as not to absorb the harmful energies within your own karmic field. Also, as stated earlier, and the very fact thereof is one of the most selfless acts you can perform. And believe me when I state that when you apply a small amount of your energy to this practice, then the powers of the universe get behind you to bring about miracles. I need no proof, as I have in my life performed and witnessed many times. Do not get me wrong here or misunderstand me. I write this not to impress or to make out as if I am something special. That is not the case. I simply share this with you in the hope that you put any of your judgments or prejudices aside and become a healer yourself, as this world could do with a lot more. That is my hope anyway. And if you have come along so far in the journey of reading this book, then it is hoped that you would be more open than sceptical to my writings and sharing of ideas and insights. Of course, I agree that in the case of severe old age and end-of-life conditions, then things change. For example, some would say that some elderly people close to passing take on a childlike demeanour. To me, this is for the return back to the Creator or God, and any attempts at healing would be futile under God the Creator's plan. This may seem pioneering to some, but when you break it down, it is just reinforced prayer for a beneficial outcome for someone by you being a conduit, or by putting your energy, care and compassion into a blessed outcome. Again, there is no doubt in my mind that this is a common practice shared throughout the world by all cultures in one way or another. It's the division caused by the closed off, ignorant, and those that would find fault in their brothers and sisters of the world. The small-minded people that come from a place of lack and scarcity, that have yet to accept the gifts from God the Creator of this understanding. The understanding that not only the world which surrounds us, but the inner world of the self has unlimited abundance. But with unlimited abundance of the outer world comes a responsibility, and that responsibility is to the environment. There is no doubt in my mind that when I look up at the moon on a clear night and observe the surrounding circle around the moon, which was not there when I was a child, that the use of fossil fuels has caused this gaping hole in the planet, which exposes the planet to universal extremities and weather conditions. Can the hole be closed and atmospheric conditions and temperatures be brought back to a safe level before it is too late? I can only state here, because I am not a scientist, that I would like to think it is probable. But when you think about it, again, it is down to environmentally friendly substitutes for the old fossil fuels, of which have shown us beyond a shadow of a doubt that their use has had a clearly recognisable negative effect. And this, although being addressed by some, it is the government and people in power that are not willing to go through the transition from fossil fuels to clean energy because of their short-term economical forecasts and self-serving greed, when the longer-term implementations and restoration of the environment should be paramount here. As tragic as it was, I will refer to the deaths in the east coast of the United States of America due to plummeting way below seasonal averages for winter temperatures. My thoughts: when will enough be enough to awaken these people in power? I do not see what the problem is other than implementation. The governments of the world and their economies can still tax the new energy products, maintenance and power source. They must, and I stress must, phase out the use of fossil fuels altogether in order to stand a chance of environmental redress and balance. Current investors in these forms of energy should now reinvest in cleaner energies, although in the short term would not yield as much profit, but what good would all their profits be from fossil fuels in a world they are responsible for killing through their own greed and in some cases just plain ignorance. I also feel that the nuclear power solution to replace fossil fuels is even more dangerous to the environment. Take the oceanic spill that travelled the world's oceans, having a detrimental effect on all life in its path, and the immediate effects of Chernobyl. Although I recently witnessed that the current site is now rich and abundant with plant and animal life once again. But my argument or point is that by product from spent uranium, which is released into the environment, I have also heard in my spiritual community been added to fluoride toothpaste. Products with a detrimental effect on the third eye chakra, whereupon it calcifies and dumbs down the masses. In other words, maybe a better way to explain it, to be fully awakened to your spiritual self with a heightened state of intuition to see through all illusion. Your third eye must be fully operational and active. This puts you wise to mass manipulation by the powers that be with regards to what you consume, who to love, who to hate, and so on. To be truly empowered is to take on and implement some of my teachings from earlier on in the book, namely the chakras, abstinence from masturbation, and getting in control of your sexual energies and becoming a healer for a much happier and fulfilling life rather than being on the hamster wheel that most people are slaves to. You only have one life of which you are consciously aware of, so choose to live the best one you can whilst here. Ask yourself, are you really happy with the person you are or have become in life, or do you take the advice and teachings from someone like myself? Who has had a life full of trials and tribulations that some would say would have finished off someone less resilient? I only wish to impart this knowledge to you now to help you live a great life, of which I have taken up until my 48th year to master to a satisfactory condition from which to operate from in my life going forward. And again, if I can help you learn this now, from whatever age you are when you read this book, if young, you can expect to have many a happy year and brilliant future, and if older, you are never too old to be partial to knowledge that will help you live a better life. If I would say any truth about my life, it would be this: that up until my spiritual awakening and beginning my journey, there was a void, and I really was not happy with any aspect of my life. But now I am blessed abundantly with a greater understanding of life, both material and spiritual worlds, respectively. And for that reason I am truly grateful, and I can state this now, that it all came from being in a genuine state of gratitude for every blessing, no matter how great or small. On your spiritual journey, should you choose to pursue it, you will also come across the phenomenon known as synergy, where an event more than just coincidental happens between two people, or energies, if you like, which fortify and let you know that you are indeed enjoying a true spiritual path in life. This happened to me on a beautiful summer's day when I decided to visit a neighbouring town to my own. Whilst on that visit, I bought a t-shirt of which I thought was really cool, with howling wolves upon it. After making the purchase, the Native American Indian man who sold me the t-shirt handed me a small blue stone. I asked him how much did I owe him for the stone. He looked at me and told me it was a gratitude stone. That was over 10 years ago, and I still have the stone.